अब हमारे इस कार्यक्रम की अगली प्रतिभागी हैं श्रीमती रश्मि मल्लिक जी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है Upholding Mental Health and Well-Being, a School-Based Study.
So good afternoon, everyone, and I am the last speaker of this session. And of course, big hand to yourself. Please give a big hand to yourself because you've been actually able to sustain till this particular time, and in spite of having hunger pangs. And one thing which I always tell whenever I go to a meeting or a class, and that is, please keep your backbone straight. Can we all do that? Yeah? Have a smile on your face. And I'm not going to give you anything which is very, very heavy. But the first and the foremost thing is gratitude. Gratitude to the CBSE, to the training unit of CBSE and COE, Guwahati, for hosting us here. So give a big hand to the host as well. All right, so as you can see, the name of the study was Upholding Mental Health and Well-Being in Schools. I'm sure that we all are doing something or else in our own zones, right? We all are educators. And now is the time to become gurus, because the children actually need the guidance and the counseling from all of us. But how and what intervention is working, how and what we can do about it is something which we need to research on. I am not a researcher. I'm not a hardcore researcher. Believe me, I have been struggling to create a research culture in my school. I wanted my teachers to do researches in their small classrooms wherein, they need to understand each and every child. I wanted my children to adopt the research culture, but I have failed till now. And this time, then I was sitting with myself and I said, okay, what is going wrong? And then I realized that I am not doing anything like this. So today I'm so thankful to CBSE that they've given me a chance, because this is going to, I think, start the culture of research in my school, wherein there'll be a showcase for them and they'll understand, okay, this is how we can create the research and this is how we can present it. So quickly going to the theme of World Mental Health Day today. Mental health is a universal human right. Please understand, it is their right. It is the right of us. It is the right of our children to, have the mental well-being. These are the synopsis. I'll quickly take you ahead. We have been doing a lot of, like all of you, during the COVID, we did, a lot of preventive measures. We were talking to the children, we were talking to all the stakeholders so that the mental well-being can be maintained, but we all know that it has damaged somewhere, some things. And, huge amount of impact will only happen if the child accepts it and the teachers accept it. Okay, this is how we can do it. And you can see a lot of peer educators are there in this particular slide. And I'll tell you why. Even our survey, even our research actually showcase the same thing, that the children learn a lot from their peers. So research objective was obviously that we were doing a lot of things and we wanted to improve the students' mental health, etc. And we wanted the child to be self-aware. And we had introduced spirituality also into the school curriculum. So we wanted to know whether these strategies and initiatives are perceived well by both the stakeholders, the children as well as teachers. We did not take parents right now in this research, so I'm only going to talk about teachers and students. Methodology was a mixed methodology where we had the quantitative study and qualitative study, and you can see the sample which we had taken. And methodology was obviously for data collection. It's very easy. We all can do that. We can create a survey form and we can just make the children sit in the computer lab and, type down and give the answers there. And for the teachers, whenever, we can go into the staff room, just speak in their free period and, get the answers. So this is the methodology which we adopted. And key findings were this. This is something which I have already highlighted. If you see, the question was perception of students' comfort level discussing the mental health, whether they are able to discuss that, whether they are undergoing certain issues or not. So it was very comforting to see that 4 and 5, the comfortable and very comfortable, was in a higher percentage in that particular sample. So that means something was working on. That means the kind of openness the children were feeling inside the school. So please do try this in your schools so that you also understand whether the children are comfortable talking about it, because until they start talking about it, we cannot do anything about it. The second thing was students' perception of stigma associated with seeking help. again, it was very encouraging. Yeah, 44 to 45, 50% people were saying there's no stigma. We can talk about our issues. Yeah. So that is again an encouraging stuff. And then we have that use of effective channels in communicating information about mental health. So we asked them, we are using social media, we are using website, we are sending you messages. Is it okay to for communication about the various sessions which we are doing, etc.? They said yes, it is okay. 61% says always, often. And then we had, this is very interesting, perception of students engagement in extracurricular activities for emotional well-being. Just imagine, the students go for the extracurricular activities to improve their well-being. So please do not say this is extracurricular, this should be co-curricular with it, right? So please ensure that you take your children out and you do certain activities, the learning experience inside the classroom, so that their well-being is maintained. And of course, your students' perception about the academics, yes, they were not sure. They were not sure whether they were stressed because of the academics. So this was like something which we came to know. And then, of course, students' participation in various initiatives. Very interestingly, peer education sessions. They were very much looking forward to the peer education. And then students' mechanism to cope with negative emotions, again, talking to their friends. Yeah. So this was very, very interesting findings. And I'm sure that we'll be able to share these PPTs with the educators. So there were many other questions which were there. And then the qualitative data analysis with the students and the teachers through interview method. And of course, we wanted to ask that improvement or additional initiative, do you want that some improvement to be done? Then their responses are on the right side. They said yes. And one of the child came up and said that you should actually inform about whatever initiative you're doing in every weekly assembly. And we said, okay, we'll start doing that, so that the participation increases. And addressing the emotional well-being challenges, the students gave such beautiful responses, and the teachers also. And of course, the responses were academic pressure, and I'm sure with the 2 board exams in a year, etc., all the initiative that CBSE is doing, we would be able to reduce it to a certain extent. And peer education again came out, and meditation and stress management for the teachers is working very well in our school. We are having weekly meditation session with the teachers and the counseling session with the teachers. I personally take the meditation, and counselors we call from outside also sometimes, and then it is really helping the teachers. So conclusion that the mental health initiative obviously are significant, but we must actually include all those initiatives in the day-to-day life of our teachers and our students. Then only it will have an impact. We cannot have one odd session by an expert in a month or 2, and then they'll forget. Most of the time we are having the webinars, and the webinars usually how it happens. I don't have to mention all those things. So please do try to encourage research in the school system. And today is the best day of my life, I think, that I'm able to create an example for my own community right now, that they will be following it up, at least in my school. And I'm hoping, with the help of my counselor who's sitting there and clicking here, Jyoti Chaudhary, we would be able to achieve the aim of creating a booklet or a journal of all the researches which will happen in our school. So thank you so very much. I've already discussed all these things. Last but not the least, I will leave you with one statement. These are all references, that mental health matters. Even when the days are cloudy and dark, we can make an effort to see the light. And so many of candles are here, which are lighting so bright right now, sitting in the auditorium. Why don't you just try? I'm sure that you are all trying. Just a little darkness in a child's life we can remove. I think our job is done as an educator. So God bless you all, and thank you so much.
And lastly, but certainly not the least, we have the Certificate of Best Paper. Any guesses? Well, it's Miss Rashmi Malik for the sub-theme, Upholding Mental Health and Well-Being. I think the applause is too feeble.